Hey, welcome guys. This is week 3 of our Intermediate Accounting 2 course, and just talk a little bit about what's going to go on this week as we continue to move forward, working toward that final exam that I know you guys are all looking forward to. One of the nice things happening this week is from this week through the end, we got one chapter a week. We're just going to go straight through 13, 14, 15, 16. So that's where you're going the rest of the way. One chapter would probably indicate, I haven't taught from this book, again, since it's new, but it generally would indicate that if there's only one chapter, there's still enough work in this one chapter, so don't get too excited over this. But our focus is really only one thing, and it's primarily going to be investments. So this is when the company will buy various assets, anything from government bonds to stock in bonds or stock in another company. And it's not always with an indication that they may eventually want to take them over at some point or become anything more than just a shareholder. And we're going to focus on things like, well, how do you classify them? How do you value them? Is there any difference as to how we do things based on the percentage ownership of the entire outstanding stock, and how does that work? There's also going to be a little bit, but that's not the big focus, kind of in similar situations of what we talked about with some current liability situations and things like notes payable. There's also the concept of notes receivable. You guys might remember that from your fundamentals courses and your accounting concepts courses. But notes receivable are just accounts receivable that we have already set up ahead of time, that the plan is we're going to do this over time. Generally, it's longer than a year. It can be a shorter period of time of that, but generally it's multiple years, so that turns it into kind of a long-term situation, and then there's interest involved and so forth. So just like there was interest expense on a notes payable, there's interest income on a notes receivable, so there'll be a little bit of that we'll deal with in Chapter 13, but primarily it's going to be about investments and how do we classify those and how do we change the values. Are there times when we would change the values? Are there times when we would have to deal with impairments? And well, what do you guys think if I'm bringing all that up, right? Yes, 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 and yes. And so we'll talk about that in a little bit. I'll do what I usually do, which is I'll provide various little synopses of things that I think would be relevant to help you. I'll take a look at the problems that we're going to do this week, and I'll try to find an exercise that mimics the type of work that you would have to do on the problem, and I'll provide the solution for that so that you could see what the exercise looks like as you read through it, and there's the answers, and maybe you'll have some aha moments there. I got the page up for this week. As you can see, only one chapter, but we do have 3 different due dates this week along with the participation. The research project on Saturday. This is our first research project, so this is where you're going to be pulling in the Accounting and Auditing Research Tools and Strategies book that you would have received with any material that you've bought for your Accounting 301, so this shouldn't be new. So you got your assignment sitting there for you. Problem set, this again, we only have 1 week, one chapter worth of problems to deal with, and that is related to Chapter 13. And then we have our second comp problem, and this is from some of the stuff that we've covered already. This goes actually back to Seminar 1 when we covered Chapter 10 and 11. I don't remember what 11 is. Is 11 depreciation? I think 11 might be depreciation. I think so. Anyway, that's what Chapter 11 is, so you got your second comp problem there. Last thing I think I'm going to try, I have to see what my week is like and see if I have time to start working on it now. I was going to spend some time looking at the final exam. As you guys know, it's, I think I've mentioned this before, it's 50 multiple choice questions at 6 points apiece, so I mean, it's killer. But I think what I'm going to try to do is look through all the problems and see if you've been, reading the chapters along the way and participating in class. If there's any problems that I look at, there's well, where the heck did this come from, or do they seem like they're tied to the content pretty well? And I'm going to try to produce some type of a study sheet. It's probably not actually going to be a sheet, but probably as I look at individual chapters, I'm going to say, okay, these are the types of things that they're going to ask some questions on in the chapters from 10 and 11 and whatever, and I'll go through doing that, and I'll just pop those out there in threads. I think that'll be an easier way to do it, because I don't see myself having the time to sit down and spend hours and hours and hours laying this out. I'd rather stay up with you guys for what you need to do per week, and try to help you salvage as many points as you can, because it's inevitable you guys are going to lose points on that final. I mean, there's, if you do the math on that, if there's 50 questions at 6 points apiece, I mean, that's a headache waiting to happen. And since I happen to know who built the exam, and it was the same team that built the exam for 301, and I think we had enough discussion about the final exam for 301. So hopefully I can kind of look through there and maybe pick out a few things that you need to be aware of going forward, and that can help you out as you're doing your reviews and so forth. So, all right, guys, look forward to working with everybody in class. We'll see you.